I find it kind of funny that just about a day or two ago, I just made a rant complaining about the communication with Battlefield 2042 between the developers and also their community. And I was saying how it's very unhealthy for your game to not tell us what's happening, what's up for the future of this game, if they're fixing anything from the previous tests that they've had, if, things are looking up for the title. We had no clue what was going on, and like I said, it's very bad for the overall game and the look of the game from an outside perspective. But I guess I gotta eat all those words I put out in that video because just recently they decided to go ahead and just splurge content over on Twitter. The whole Battlefield community just completely splurged with Battlefield 2042 content. And I gotta say, it's looking extremely crispy. Now, today, I'm going to actually go ahead and have the balls to put up the legitimate gameplay footage that they released on YouTube, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I'm praying to God right now that EA isn't going to be that scummy and strike down this video, because once again, it's public footage. I don't know why they're after me, because all these other content creators are allowed to use these videos and stuff like that. And I've been talking positive about it. It's not even like I'm talking negative about this game. I'm really excited for Battlefield. It just makes no logical sense. So I'm going to try, because I think it's very important that you guys see this footage, because it shows off a lot of the different specialists, a lot of their different abilities, and how they actually work. And it shows off the gameplay, how fluent the game actually looks. It's a lot of things I want to touch on in this specific commentary. But like I said, I'm going to risk it for the biscuit with this footage, just so I can show you guys personally. Now, to begin, there's going to be an open beta coming out this specific month, I believe for all platforms, and keyword open, so I'm pretty sure anybody's going to be able to get their hands on this beta. And they made a very crucial point that they're going to be checking out all the feedback. They want everybody to go ahead and, tell them the problems, the glitches, the issues that are in this game. It's going to be pretty much a playtest to polish off the servers, polish off the game for the initial build. So once again, this isn't going to be a selling point for a lot of people, just like how the alpha wasn't really a selling point for Call of Duty Vanguard. This is being put out so they can improve the experience overall. And this is a fantastic step in the right direction, because for those who don't know, the first playtest they had, the PlayStation users couldn't even get a playtest version. There were some extremely bad game-breaking bugs, I'm assuming, that were in Battlefield 2042 that just completely caused them to not allow any PlayStation players to use that playtest. So with that being in mind, I was a little worried about the future of how they're going to handle this game, but seeing that there's going to be an open beta kind of calms me down a little bit, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to be when they put it out, because I've seen gameplay Battlefield 2042, but in the playtest it was capped at 30 frames, it was bad quality, no textures, it didn't look the most outstanding, so I'm really curious to see how it looks with a more polished build. And same with this gameplay footage as well. I truly just want to see what the game looks like when it gets into the hands of a more experienced FPS player. I want to see what the movement system is going to be like. I want to see how good the gunplay is going to be like. Right now, again, even though it's a great gameplay that we're looking at here, and I love to see a lot of new additions into the game, it's still pretty much all scripted events that are going on here. Very slow looking, clunky movement and all this stuff. Again, it doesn't represent the game good enough. I want to see more from the hands of legitimate players instead of a build that's meant to be shown off in a trailer. But what is one thing that is so stupidly crucial for the success of your game? Communication. And I'm so happy to see that the developers and also the community managers and stuff like that are communicating with their audience a lot more than they were previously. You see, this is crucial for the success of a game. If you're going to go ahead and you have an awful build of a game, but you're going to sugarcoat it and lie to your fans saying it's outstanding, when it releases, nobody's going to support it, because you didn't tell them up front that the game was in a rough spot. But if you go ahead and you tell the issues up front right away, people will expect this stuff at launch, which means they're going to be a little bit more willing, they'll be a little bit more patient, and they'll work with you. They'll work with the developers instead of complaining and whining like you see with Call of Duty every single year. The Call of Duty community, it's not because we're completely toxic and all we want to do is just complain about the game 24/7. It's the constant fakeness of these developers pushing out games and trying to, say they're outstanding, they're the best of the best, this is going to be the top tier Call of Duty game, everything that's being changed is going to be fantastic, and then the game releases and it's the most broken mess that you've ever seen in your whole life. That's how you go ahead and build a toxic community. But if you're open with them, it's a lot better of a story. And they are open with us. Like, for example, we now know that the medic weapon is going to be tuned a little bit. They had a lot of problems in the actual playtest with this medic weapon. So they actually tuned it back. Instead of being able to revive a teammate from the ground if they're already downed, you can only give them health with the medic weapon, which is basically a little pistol gun that you can shoot. You'll see it in the clips here every once in a while. You basically shoot it at range, and you can heal up your teammates. But previously, in the playtest build, you can actually revive your teammates. You can revive down people, but it was a little too overpowered, a little too broken, so they messed around with it. And they're open with the community. I guess when we get our hands on it, we can tell them if we like it, if we hate it, and then they'll work around our feedback. But at the end of the day, the fact that they're open about these problems in this game that are ruining the experience, because if this was Call of Duty, we wouldn't even known that they changed the specialist ability for the, the beta build. They wouldn't tell us anything. They would have changed how the medic weapon worked, just kept completely silent, and then we would have to find out on our own when the beta actually comes out, which is going to, once again, cause for more negative feedback. But now when we go into the beta, we know this, we're expecting this, so nobody's going to be coming out with negative rants, because if we did, we just look stupid now. But putting communication aside, what is one of the most important factors to any FPS game? It doesn't matter if it's a tac shooter, it doesn't matter if it's a milsim or even an arcade shooter. What is the most important factor? The gunplay. Yes, map designs are crucial, and other, surrounding features are very crucial to build an FPS game. But it's a reason it's called a first-person shooter, because you are shooting a lot, okay? And if the shooting and the gun mechanics are bad, the whole game is going to flop. And I can confidently say that from this gameplay footage right here, Battlefield 2042's gunplay looks pretty crispy. It doesn't look like Battlefield 5, where they tried to add a more, memorable recoil pattern, a specific pattern, I guess I should say, to each and every gun. It looks more like Battlefield 4, barely any recoil, your sight stays exactly on the enemy. But this is where I'm a little worried. And this doesn't look like there's any bloom. But we didn't get to really see too many long-range engagements besides the sniper clip at the very end. You see, in Battlefield 4, it's the same exact thing. There's no recoil at all on pretty much all the weapons. But the downside to that is there's unrecognizable recoil. It's basically bloom at the end of the day. The more you fully auto at range, the more the bullets just start flying everywhere and they will not hit on target. Your red dot could be perfectly on their chest, but like I said, if you spray at long range, eventually they won't land. You have to tap fire a lot, and even when you tap fire, the hit detection in Battlefield 4 it's not outstanding. Now, I'm hoping that Battlefield 2042 can take that gunplay, but maybe perfect on it. Because what this will do is it will expand not only to Battlefield players, but it'll expand to a lot of other players as well. You see, one of the main reasons why a lot of Call of Duty players don't move over to Battlefield or give it a shot is because of the fact that not only the maps are, massive, and it's really hard to understand how to, rotate around a Battlefield map, but it's weird coming from a game that's all about hit scan, and then coming over to Battlefield where you have to lead your shots, and there's bullet drop and stuff like that that you have to, take into account. There's a lot of different factors in a Battlefield game that makes it very complex. And I'm not saying that I want Battlefield 2042 to have hit scan gunplay. No, not at all. I want it to keep to its traditional Battlefield roots. But what I'm hoping from this is more of a Battlefield Hardline style gunplay. You see, I feel like Battlefield Hardline gets no appreciation ever. Nobody even mentions Battlefield Hardline, but truly, it was a pretty decent game. Now, it might have not been outstanding, from Battlefield terms, because it was limited and it was a cops and crooks game and stuff like that. But when it came down to the gunplay, it was phenomenal. It was pretty much like what I just explained. It was Battlefield 4, but to a more better degree, in my personal opinion. You were able to fully auto people. You were able to, land shots that are very consistent. The hit detection wasn't wonky 24/7, but you still had to lead your shots, and there was bullet drop and stuff like that. There's things to take into account, but it wasn't as random when you go ahead and you spray your gun. Along with barely any recoil on pretty much all the guns, it just made for outstanding gameplay. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, no recoil, but that's boring and stuff like that, but I feel like that just adds for a lot more variety. And it's not no recoil, you still have to pull down, but it's nothing insane. And when you have weapons like this that are easy to use, it adds for more variety in the game and less meta abusing. And yes, there's always going to be that one gun that's just phenomenal. It's going to be impossible to make a game without that one gun that's going to be phenomenal. Like in Battlefield 4, the AEK. Great rifle, outstanding. And I say the majority of the sweats typically use that weapon, but that doesn't mean the rest of the guns are horrible. Even though some of those weapons up close and personal will never outgun the AEK, they're still all good in their own specific ways. Some are better at long range, some are better up close and personal, but at the end of the day, they all are easy enough with recoil patterns that people still want to pick them up and use them. Compare that to a game like Modern Warfare, where you have an AS Val that can completely shred anything in the whole world. Why would I go ahead and put myself at a disadvantage using like a gun like an Odin, when I can have a gun with virtually no recoil, an insanely fast fire rate, and stupidly high damage? There's no reason to do so. I'll just get completely destroyed every single time I even try to compete. So I gotta say, seeing a lot of these weapons in Battlefield 2042, how they look, feel, a lot of them seem more balanced, and almost all of them look like they have virtually no recoil. I'm excited because that means I'm going to have a lot more variety, and I'll be able to use a lot more equipment in this title. And usually for a lot of my gameplay clips on this channel, I like to use things that aren't meta, just because I don't want you guys to get bored by seeing the same weapon every single video of your life. You know, I know my videos are more commentary based and not, gameplay based, but still, I don't want to torture you guys with that gameplay. I try to add some variety, but it's a lot better to have a game where variety is fun to use instead of having to force myself to use variety, being bored out of my mind and having to, constantly be at a massive disadvantage. You get what I'm saying? But overall, thank you, DICE. We really do appreciate you guys communicating with your fan base. It's very crucial. Again, we all know it's going to be glitches. There's going to be problems. It should just be completely expected as a Battlefield fan that this game is going to release in a pretty bad spot. But, like I said, they don't have to leave us in the dark about it. Don't try to pull a Call of Duty here and try to sugarcoat everything. Let us know about the issues. Put them out in the beta. Let us play test everything. We'll give you feedback, and as long as you guys are open with us, we will have a fantastic year with Battlefield 2042. A fantastic few years. I'm definitely planning on putting a lot of time into this title, and I'm so beyond excited to see what you guys have to show off to the whole community. But guys, thanks so much for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like if you hate it. Leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new, enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. Also, you want to chat with me, there's two ways to do so. I have a Twitter and a Discord. Both those links are down in the description. And also, you want to catch me live streams of video games, I do over on Twitch. Link to that is in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.